Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call every day and giving your association to us, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call every day and giving your association to us, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirti Dat Sundari Mataji. Thank you Neetu Mataji for your beautiful chanting.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association to us, Mataji. And thank you so much for the very beautiful chanting. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Anyone else would like to introduce themselves? Mataji, can we start the recording? Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. I welcome all of you to Bhakti Sanga Japa conference calls, mid-morning call on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Before proceeding on to the call, I would like to read Srila Prabhupada's quote. Every animal is imperfect, but man-animal can become perfect if he likes. It is very important life. You cannot become as perfect as God, but near about. Perth, May 7th, 1975. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. The next part of the session is going to be a Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat class. The class is going to be given.
You know what I mean?
The class is going to be given by His Grace Rāmagiridhāri Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances.
I'm gonna see if you put my eggs down while I shower.
तो एक बना रहा है अभी कैसे तो कर ले फिर मैं प्रचार कर
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
can you all hear me? I'm not sure. There are a lot of background disturbances.
Yes, Prabhuji, now we can hear you. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. We are very grateful to you for coming on to the call and enlightening us on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda, chapter 10, verses 140 to 147. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading from Chaitanya Bhagavata, Madhya Khanda, chapter 10, text number 140 through 147. Advaitera Vakya Bhujibhara Shaktikara Janiha Ishvara Sange Beda Nahi Yara. Who can understand the statements of Advaita? Know for certain that he is non-different from the Supreme Lord. Sharatera Megayena Prabhagya Varshe Sarvatra Nakare Vrishti Kotaha Varishe. The autumn clouds do not rain everywhere, but rain only on some fortunate places. During autumn, it doesn't rain everywhere at the same time. It rains in some places and it does not rain in others. Fortunate places can expect rain during autumn. The statements of Advaita Prabhu also brought good fortune to some persons, but created misfortune for others. Text 142. So while describing Sri Krishna Balrama's Vraja pastimes that were performed during the rainy and autumn seasons in Sri Dhamma Vrindavana, Sri Sukadeva Goswami spoke as follows. Girayo mumuchustoyam kvachincha mumukshi shivam yata jnana mritam kale jnani no dadate navam. During the season, the mountains sometimes released their pure water and sometimes did not, just as experts in transcendental science sometimes give the nectar of transcendental knowledge and sometimes do not. Text 143. Yei mata advaitera kichu dosha nai bhagya bhagya bhuji yakya kare setai. In this way, Advaita Acharya has no fault. People understood his explanations according to their own piety or impiety. Chaitanya Charana Seva Advaitera Kaja Ihate Pramana Sabha Vaishnava Samaja. The only engagement of Advaita is to serve the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. The activities of Vaishnava societies are the evidence of this fact. Text 145. Shri Bhagavatera Vachana Anadhari Advaitera Sevakare Nahe Priyankari. If one disregards the statements of exalted devotees while serving Advaita, his service will not be pleasing. Text 146. Caitanyete Mahamaheshwara Buddhiyara Se Advaita Bhakta Advaita Tahara. Anyone who accepts Sri Chaitanya as the supreme controller of all controllers is an actual devotee of Advaita, and Advaita belongs to him. Text 147. Sarva Prabhu Gaura Chandra Iha Ye Nayalaya Akshaya Advaita Seva Vyartha Tarahaya. The inexhaustible service of Advaita is useless for one who does not accept. Gaura Sundara is the Lord of all. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham Namaham Vishnu Padayam Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedhantam Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanandam Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome to you all for this Chaitanya Bhagavata session. Today was a pretty intense day for most of the devotees of ISKCON. I'm sure you all would have participated online or in person. The memorial ceremony of His Holiness Gopala Krishna Goswami Maharaj. I've been glued to the screen since morning and remembering and recollecting my personal association with Gopala Krishna Maharaj. Don't worry, I will not digress on the topic, but I just want to say that the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is very sweet. The characteristics of a Vaishnava who applies the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam in his life is sweeter. When a devotee associates with such a Vaishnava and experiences the pleasure of that association, it is sweetest. But when that associate shares his realization of what it means to be associating with a devotee Bhagavata, that is the most sweetest and the mother of all pleasure and blessings. Just by hearing the glories of a devotee whose association with the Bhagavata, who in turns apply Srimad Bhagavatam in one's life, our faith, our dedication, and our commitment to this sampradaya gets reconfigured for better. So when we heard about the glories of His Holiness Gopala Krishna Maharaj, interestingly, I had the good fortune of knowing him in very close quarters. I had lots of service opportunities under his lotus feet. But when I heard the glories from several devotees, I felt how stupid I was that I didn't take full advantage of my knowing such a great personality. I felt a bit ashamed. So one thing you will always see in Caitanya Mahaprabhu's family, one thing we will always see as an ethos of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, that which is one that stands out is glorification of another Vaishnava. Vrindavan Das Thakura, whilst he is writing and explaining about the episodes, he gives his own opinions and views. When he writes about the episodes, he also shares about different personalities, whether it was about Nityananda Prabhu, whether it was about Kolavich Sridhara, and now about our dearest Advaita Acharya. The entire Caitanya family has got a wonderful culture of cross-glorifying each other and increase the pleasure of the association. And without any doubt, we can say that that culture is still existing and you can derive the same pleasure by glorifying and hearing the glorification of a Bhagavata who lived amongst ourselves. With limited understanding, with enormous conditioning, if a person like me can realize that and feel elated, surcharged, what to speak of all of you and most of the devotees who participated, I'm sure that Krishna consciousness and its sweetness is ever growing. So I'm dearly missing not being in Vrindavan today. Unfortunately, I couldn't go, even though I had a offer from several devotees to join them, because I had some commitments back in Mumbai. I'm very happy that I'm able to speak something glorifying the Vaishnavas and the mission Sankirtan. I hope that will bring in some solace, that will bring in some inspiration for us, for me to make it up to what I had not got. So the context is very interesting, slightly complex. Complex because Siddhanta and technical aspects of Siddhanta, everyone in this world is confused. Word game. Acharyas, out of their Panditya, they have presented the subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedic literature in such an erudite manner that common men needed purports and needed living acharyas to explain what our predecessors have explained. It is not only just in 20th century, even during Advaita Acharya's time, such a scenario existed. So the context that we just read today mentions about how Advaita Acharya's words were not properly understood and how Advaita Acharya is as bona fide as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how anyone who claims himself to be the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would naturally become followers of Advaita Acharya. I was going to originally discuss about some technical aspects of Achintya Veda Abheda Tattva, but then I changed my mind, saying that there are so many emotions already embedded in the 6-7 shlokas that we discussed. So rather than being technical, let's be emotional, sentimental, and do something that can help me, I'm sure, to an extent help others in developing some attachment towards our Sankirtan mission. So I have a couple of reflections as always, and we'll go over each of them. The very first one is about the mention about autumn cloud. It is a very profound statement that was made, and it is resonating with whatever I have been discussing, hearing since morning about the glories of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. There is a saying in Tamil, விழலுக்கு இறைத்த நீர் வாய்க்கால் வழியோடி புல்லுக்கும் ஆங்கே பொசியுமாம் தொல்லுலகில் நல்லார் ஒருவர் உளரேல் அவர் பொருட்டு எல்லோருக்கும் பெய்யும் மழை. This means that if there is one good soul out there anywhere, just because of him, everybody gets rains. Tollulagil nallar oruvar ularel. Even if there is one good soul out there, everybody gets the benefit. Brahmanda tarite shakti tare jane jane eveda purane gunagaye jevasune. Devakinandan Das was originally Gopala Chapal. He sings, according to Veda, Puranas, what I have learned is that one single devotee, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti, which means delivering the entire Brahmanda, the power of delivering the entire Brahmanda, is with one devotee, one pure devotee. So wherever he goes, he transforms that place. So Advaita Acharya's glories are very nicely brought out by Vrindavan Das Thakur Because Kali Yuga is known for misunderstanding. One of the characteristics nature of Kali Yuga is misunderstanding. Not just misunderstanding, something material. Misunderstandings even there in the spiritual context. Personalities that of Sri Advaitacharya, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, and several acharyas have been misunderstood, mispresented, misrepresented, and there is a khichdi movement. There are people who create several types of, khichdi. They just make a mess out of the whole thing. They look like devotees. They talk like devotees. And they're philosophically, completely baseless. As I have said several times in the past, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, during his manifested Leela, he traveled around the entire West Bengal, or Bengal, West East, all those at that point in time, and found 13 different groups of Apasampradayis. Just only around Bengal region he traveled. He found people in the garb of a devotee were talking so many things, practicing so many things and nonsenses. So Advaitacharya and his words and his explanations were not properly understood. Whilst Vrindavan Das Thakura is saying here that those who understand them, those who got his blessings, those who are fortunate enough to understand Advaitacharya, they are really a special soul. According to Vrindavan Das Thakura, he says, know for certain that he is not different from the Supreme Lord. So my first reflection here is, by being a recipient of the mercy, being a recipient of the blessings of a self-realized soul, the verse number 141 and 142 is the basis of my first reflection. In 141, it is explained about the autumn cloud, and 142 a reference to Srimad Bhagavatam explains where transcendental science, experts in the transcendental science, sometimes give the nectar of transcendental knowledge, sometimes do not. So my first reflection is based on being the recipient of the mercy of self-realized soul. For us to be the recipient of self-realized soul, for being the special one, we simply have to do only one thing. Just simply follow in their footsteps and perform menial services. And Prabhupada explains in Bhagavad Gita 4.34 that when your service attitude is tested, when the spiritual master is pleased, Divya Gyan will be revealed. Technically, Srila Prabhupada is giving 7 steps in that particular purport of Bhagavad Gita 4.34. In that purport, Prabhupada very clearly says, one of the important steps is to please the spiritual master, and second is to be able to pass that test the spiritual master conduct upon yourself. Then the spiritual knowledge will be imparted. I will just read that portion whilst I have read it multiple times in the past. just for the sake of being in the context, I will explain. So Prabhupada writes 4.34, 7 points to get Divya Gyan. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Whilst the spiritual master travel everywhere to give his blessings, that is his costless mercy. But if anyone who is seeking the truth, if anyone is seeking the knowledge, if anyone is interested in progressing in Krishna consciousness, he has to approach a bona fide spiritual master. The first step, one has to approach bona fide spiritual master to receive knowledge. Second, such spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. It is not something you just go and say, hey, okay, Gurudev, please give me this knowledge. Oh, please give me this initiation. So one has to accept. Such spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. Number 2. Third, one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Today morning, in all the glorifications, one thing that stood out was about this attitude of Gopal Krishna Maharaj towards fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's order, and how he was steadfastly focused in working towards that, even to an extent. If you have missed hearing, please check out. There is an offering by Dasavatar Prabhu, who happened to be Gopal Krishna Maharaj's personal servant. So he had given a very emotional offering. And in that, he made a very interesting episode. Said, whilst Maharaj was lying down in the bed in the hospital in ICU, just during this time in Dehradun before he leaves this world, he was so feeling guilty of not able to execute some of the services or whatever that is not able to participate. He is writing a letter from the hospital about how he is to all his colleagues, his ISKCON bureau members, but how he is not able to continue. He may have to resign from the chairmanship because he was the chairman of ISKCON bureau. I mean, I don't know. You can hear them. He had given a very detailed details about last days of Maharaj. So the point is, one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. But fourth, just because you served is not your entitled. Prabhupada says, satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. You need to be satisfied. I approach the spiritual master, I surrender to the spiritual master, I serve the spiritual master. These are all what you have done, what I have done, what I am supposed to do. But what is the benchmark? Is satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Number 4. Number 5. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. Fifth point is, after satisfying enough by your menial service and continue them, you present your inquiries, your questions, your submissions. This is step 5. Then Prabhupada writes, one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple. So one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. Step 6. And when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. So, my first reflection I want to summarize. I have shared these points earlier also, and in fact, I narrated a pastime of Ramanujacharya with his senior most disciple by name Dasa, and how Dasa, when he approached Ramanujacharya asking for the purport of Sarvadharman Parityajya, what happened for the next 12 months. There was a detailed pastime, we will not go there. But the point is that it is important that anyone and everyone who is able to technically understand, who is able to technically articulate, not necessarily be the recipient of mercy. The recipient of mercy happens only when the spiritual master reveals. Otherwise, all the words are Greek and Latin or whatever that may be. You may technically ponder over those subject matter, but will never even scratch the surface of the essence of that subject matter. So my first reflection, I want to park it here by saying that transcendental science experts reveal. Transcendental science cannot be taught. Transcendental science is something that based on our surrender, based on our inquisitiveness, based on our ability to satisfy our spiritual master, they are revealed to us. One single person depends upon how the other, the student or the disciple, he is relating with him. The spiritual master extends himself to that person. So Srila Prabhupada, the way he had influenced, the way his impact upon several of his disciples were subjected to how they took Srila Prabhupada's words and instructions seriously. So Advaitacharya has been glorified here, that anyone who does not understand, because what happened was that the Vedic knowledge, the texts of Vedic knowledge and the explanations of Vedic knowledge is not something everyone can understand. In fact, our glories about Srila Prabhupada is so important because Srila Prabhupada made those tough statements, those complicated statements, those intricate statements, he made them available for Baddha Jivas so that we could relate and eventually transform ourselves. So it is not that the product is great, but the product has to be sold nicely. You may have a wonderful product, you may have a wonderful content, you may have a very terrific, arrangement of glorifying the Lord, but if it is not being translated, relayed, communicated, presented properly, Manda Sumanda Madayo, Manda Bhagyahi Upadrita. That is Kali Yuga's nature. Even if you try to present it simply, there are people who can complicate them. As Caitanya Mahaprabhu, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna consciousness is simple for simple-minded and very complicated for crooked. So I want to say that this special mercy upon us, when a Vaishnava visits your house, when a Vaishnava comes in your life, when you are being called by a Vaishnava, when you are being seen by a Vaishnava, Srila Prabhupada writes in one place that the success of Krishna consciousness is that your spiritual master turns towards you and appreciates your contribution towards his mission. The Lord turns his face towards you. So it is all resting upon our conduct, how I conduct myself. So there is nothing to be blamed anywhere. If somebody did not understand, it is not because of the person who is speaking. If somebody did not understand, it is because of our conditioning. And we have to still continue to plead, continue to yearn, continue to serve, and we will eventually be revealed about the science of Krishna's transcendental pastimes. Because in text number 143, this point has been established. Advaitacharya has no fault. People understood his explanations according to their own piety or impiety. So the ball is in our court. How are we going to understand the science of Krishna consciousness? Second reflection is about the text number 145. If one disregards the statements of exalted devotees while serving Advaita, his service will not be pleasing. This is a very, a tricky and important point. The idea is that I am seeing this happening around. As you progress in Krishna consciousness, as we advance in devotional life, especially in ISKCON's ecosystem, you naturally tend to become senior devotee. Kalakanta Prabhu once came to Radha Gopinath temple. I'm talking about December or March 2000. He was in Radha Gopinath temple during Gaura Purnima festival. He mentioned that to become a senior devotee in ISKCON, you don't need to do anything. Just be in ISKCON, you will be branded senior devotee. To get the seniority status, we simply have to stay put. But to become an advanced devotee, one need to go through the process. So when we become little familiar with these processes and philosophies, and when we get close to the Lord and his dearest devotees, when we get to learn some philosophy, there is a natural tendency, because of the nature of this yuga, we may tend to disrespect, disregard, overlook, and kind of try to step over our own seniors. You can call it as Maryada Vyatikrama. You may call it as familiarity breeds contempt. You may call it as somebody who is overconfident. But it has been explicitly made clear in various places in Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as in practical lives of Vaishnavas. Anyone who is trying to outsmart his seniors, his predecessors, will not have any juice left in his devotional sentiments. He may loiter here and there as a jnani, as a knowledgeable person, but he will not be able to win himself or any of his followers to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because it has been made very clear that you perform devotional service, you glorify Krishna, you glorify holy name, you glorify Dham, you glorify deities, but disregard a Vaishnava, disregard the words of a Vaishnava, then these all things will be, simply quarantined. So, the secret of our Krishna consciousness journey, in the secret of, in the journey of Krishna consciousness, the secret lies in making sure that we don't get too familiar with our own seniors. To an extent, we disregard them. Familiarity is actually a vice. It is important vice that we may have to give a very careful attention. Sometimes this Mataji, this Prabhuji, this Bacha, they may be part of your family, part of your community. You take them for granted. Or you think that anyway he is going to be around, we will take care of it later. When you do memorials, when you attend memorials, you are given 4 wax. At least I got, a few today. Because then the personality was there every time when Gopal Krishna Maharaj visits Navi Mumbai ISKCON, every time he used to inquire about several devotees. And I can say with all humility, he used to inquire about me. But I'm feeling that many times I knew Maharaj is in Navi Mumbai, just 7-8 kilometers, just close to my house. I had skipped going there because of, not just to disrespect, but because I had other engagements. But now when I look back, those moments I should have capitalized. So somewhere I personally feel, because you get a privilege, because here in this temple, in our Radha Madan Mohanji temple in ISKCON of Navi Mumbai, everybody is Gopal Krishna Maharaj disciple, most of them. And I am disciple of Jayapataka Maharaj. But every time, much before Gopal Krishna Maharaj attends to his own disciples, if he happens to see me around, if he happens to see some special devotees, he gives his love, he gives his time, he gives his blessings, he makes sure he gives a special hug, he gives, I do not want to, get emotional here. But the point is, when you get all of them, you have an additional added responsibility to make sure that we value them. Because we have a natural anartha, a human tendency within ourselves, that which is being made available easy is never valued. That which is given to you by free of cost is never valued. That which is being given to you, instead of giving to anybody else, we get naturally proud. So this propensity makes us to disregard them, become too familiar with them, become too colloquial with them, without realizing they are just one step closer to Krishna. I mean, between you and, if you want, you are one step closer to Krishna. Just by them knowing you, if you had conducted yourself well, served yourself very correctly, they are so close to Krishna because they are with Krishna. In their heart, Krishna always resides. This is not only about Gopal Krishna Maharaj, it is also about all those Vaishnavas, right from Advaita Charya. Because Caitanya Mahaprabhu has time and again revealed, explained, made sure that we all hear. Equivocally, we all agree that yes, Advaita Charya is a special candidate who's a transmitter of Krishna's mercy. Because he carries Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his heart. He carries Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's love in his heart. And it has become synonymous to say anyone who is follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happens to be the natural follower of Advaita Charya to that extent. Advaitacharya's glories are there. And if I can extrapolate that, it is true for Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's dear disciples, our Guru Maharaj and our Guru uncles. So many times I used to wonder that sometimes it is difficult to go and have a meeting with your own Guru Maharaj, because I'm in a different geography where Jayapataka Maharaj visits often, but not that often as, Gopal Krishna Maharaj visits. But you get so much of warmth, love, care from these wonderful Vaishnavas. So my second reflection that I want to say is that we generally tend to disregard. And if we do that, the service is not going anywhere, it is quarantined. So please note that in our service to Krishna, in our service to Parampara, in our service to the mission, it is not about your skill. It is not about your contribution. It is not about the fame. It is not about the power. It is not about the follower. It is about how much we are aligned with the thought process, how much we are aligned in respecting and glorifying our predecessors, our seniors, and our entire parampara, and how much we value them and see our accomplishment in line with them. That is why there is a saying, give credit where credit is due. You just cannot take some credits. You just cannot blame somebody. So it is so important. And this point of this statement, text 145, very nicely in today's glorification, several Vaishnavas spoke how in his personal conduct, Gopal Krishna Maharaj made sure that neither Srila Prabhupada nor Srila Prabhupada's instructions, nor his god brothers, nor his disciples, they bring in this mentality of disregard amongst each other. Disregard to one another. How respect and cooperation happens to be the foundation in our Vaishnava relationship. So my second reflection that I want to, share here is about the nature of familiarity, overconfidence, and sometimes our being senior. These all are a disturbance in our spiritual life. So if anyone is dwelling on them, if anyone is inflicted by them, they really need to watch out and unpluck them and pluck them out so that the devotional creeper can grow very nicely. And that is done with an utmost care by a well-wisher. So please allow yourself, give free hand to your well-wisher, give free hand to your predecessor, give free hand to your senior, so that he can identify these quotients at different level, at different layer, at different aspects of Krishna consciousness need to be looked after. Now that we are talking Caitanya Bhagavata, we are talking about the deeper science of Caitanya Bhagavata. So we are touching on this very subtle point. No, Prabhuji, I am following 4 regular principle. I am chanting 16 rounds. I am regularly, doing all my services. You have cleared many exams. So we bow down, but you have many more to do, sir. So now this context is to make sure that we handle these. I being senior, I know I'm very familiar, and sometimes I'm overconfident that I will be able to manage. These 3 quotients, bring in some sort of a disregarding feeling. We try to, ignore, overlook, step over some very important things. We fail to recognize, and it is too late. By the time we wake up, we would miss that train. And my last reflection in this current context is the inexhaustible service, the text number 147. The inexhaustible service of Advaita is useless for one who does not accept Gaura Chandra is the Lord of all. So this is another, important point. This is about, I am so attached to Guru. I am so attached to my leader, but I am missing the point of the mission. Again, in today's conversation, this came up. But how several people, they had progressed in ISKCON and two classifications. One, they are so attached to the spiritual master, they were least bothered whether the spiritual master is in good standing, whether he is, taking you to the right place or not. And another category is that what I was just speaking about, a few minutes before. You try to disregard your spiritual master and go past him. So my third reflection is about that our purpose of this human form of life is to realize that I am not this body, spirit, soul, and Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And that is possible when we have an important personality called Guru in between. So I used to always give this example. The example of spectacles. This is needed for adjusting my vision. Without this, what I'm able to see blurred, what I'm not able to see. When I wear these spectacles, I am able to see things as they are. But by wearing this, if the content on the other side, because this side is my eyes, this is in between, there is something in front. By adding this layer, if the content or the object in front of me is seen differently, then this is not doing its function correctly. So this spectacle has got three parts. The lens part, the frame part, and the part that is holding on to our, to ourselves. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. We need Shastra, which is like a lens. We need Guru who explains the Shastra. And we need Sadhu in whose assembly we will be able to serve our Guru. If you eliminate any one of them, there is a problem. And when we talk about Shastra, Ete Changsa Kala Pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Sometimes we are so Guru, I would use the word fanatics. We forget about the function and the duty why you are approaching a Guru. I have shared this story. I will once again repeat it for this current context. This is not to insult anyone, but to highlight a very important point. Way back in 2001, 2002, maybe 2005. Yeah. Myself, my wife, and my mother-in-law, we went to attend ISKCON Juhu Rath Yatra. My mother-in-law had a difficulty walking, so I had my driver, my vehicle, and so it was arranged that we will make them sit in the car and the car will follow the Rath. So I was going to drop them off and get down and pull the Rath. One gentleman with a 5-year-old child girl, he came to us looking at us devotees, devotees. I never knew he was a devotee. He was Dhoti Kurta, Tilak Shika, whatever. So he said, Prabhuji, please, I need a small favor. That I have my 5-year-old daughter with me. So can you please, hold her for some time? Let me just go and pull Jagannath Rath and come. What am I supposed to do? With all, genuinity, I said, okay, Prabhu, please come soon. I didn't even realize that I should take some details from him. And he went, and he never came back. He said 5 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour. We were worried. Thankfully, the child did not cry. And thankfully, the child knew father's phone number. So I kept on calling him. This guy never picked up. And we had a plan to leave from the Rath Yatra early. But because this child is with us, we couldn't leave. So I was trying to call him. Can you imagine? The entire Juhu Rath Yatra goes for 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. We were almost, in the first 45 minutes, we joined the Rath Yatra, 1 hour. So we have another good 3 hours. Whereas we want to leave in half an hour. So because this child was with us, we couldn't leave. Who will you, give this child and go? I swear on the name of God, I called that guy almost like 100 times probably. And we finally reached the destination. And I was not sure how to handle this. So, when we reached the Maidan, the destination, he picked up the phone. I was almost gone. All my Krishna consciousness quotients were finished. I was in my Rakshasa Bhava. I was almost going to rip him apart. So I said, Prabhu, I screamed. I didn't want to describe all those scenes here. My wife, my mother-in-law, and all the devotees, they were, by this time, this became a big scene because I already, not sure how to handle them. And this guy coolly came and said, Prabhuji, अगर आपको जाना ही था तो मैं बच्ची को छोड़ के जा सकते थे. इतना क्या चिल्ला रहे हो? Which means if you really wanted to go, you could have dropped my daughter and called Jagannath would have taken care of my daughter. I said, I said, what are you talking about? Prabhu, what are you talking about? Are you sane? Will you call this as surrender to the Lord? You know what he said? For me, my time with my Guru Maharaj is very important than anything else in life. Prabhus and Matajis, I am elaborating this particular situation. This happened with me because sometimes we are so fanatics, doesn't understand the science of Krishna consciousness, why and what it meant for. This Krishna consciousness science, as it is very, very nicely explained, there are many people just because of name, fame, power, adoration, or because of some fanatic understanding, they miss this very fundamental point of serving the Supreme Lord. My surrender to Guru, my Guru Bhakti, my glorification of spiritual master is to be in line with glorifying Krishna. The day there is a disconnect anywhere in this chain, there is a problem. If there is a disconnect between me and my Guru, if there is a disconnect between Guru and Krishna, if there is a disconnect between me and Krishna, that I am supposed to serve Krishna, all three are problematic cases. I am such a great spiritual master, servant of my spiritual master, hell with my understanding with Krishna, that's not okay. That's not how Krishna consciousness is defined. Prabhu, I am so sincerely serving my Gurudev, chanting is not required. How many devotees left this movement, fallen down because of certain, weird understandings like this. So the point I want to say here and conclude is that Advaita Prabhu, as very nicely in the purport it is mentioned, Advaita Charya Prabhu, is Krishna himself, Vishnu Tattva. His service is imperishable, but if one does not accept Advaita's worshipable Lord Gaura Sundara as the worshipable Lord of all and commits offense by considering Advaita Prabhu as the worshipable Lord of Mahaprabhu, as many times in our material world, people have blind Guru Bhakti. As Prabhupada writes in this purport in 4.34, just after that point that I read, he says, one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. Then Prabhupada further writes, in this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the bona fide spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. The bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries become perfect. So, my final statement here is that in this purport, the particular shloka 147 is very nicely explained. That a person without Krishna consciousness is no better than dry wood or a dead body. He is understood to be dead while living, and after death he is punishable by Yamaraj. Not only the misguided descendants of Advaitacharya, but anyone who is against the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be considered an atheist, subject to be punished by Yamaraja. Be he a learned scholar, a great ascetic, a successful householder, or a famous sannyasi, one who is against the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is destined to suffer the punishment meted out by Yamaraja. The descendants of Advaitacharya who accepted the path of Sri Achyutananda were all great devotees. By the mercy of Advaitacharya, the devotees who strictly followed the path of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attained the shelter of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet without difficulty. So thank you so much for giving patient hearing. And it's always a pleasure to glorify Vaishnavas, glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan mission. It is definitely a privilege. The more and more you hear, I would say one of the important ways by which you can rejuvenate yourself, recalibrate yourself, reconfigure yourself is to hear about the lives of Vaishnava Acharyas. Please, somehow or other, hear the lives of Vaishnava Acharyas, both contemporary Vaishnava Acharyas as well as our predecessor Acharyas. It is important. By hearing them, you will know the application of the philosophy. If you don't hear them from somebody, as I said, Bhagavatam is sweet. Bhagavata is sweeter. Servant of the Bhagavata is sweetest. Hearing from the servant of a Bhagavata is the, summum and bonum of all those sweet. So we have the privilege of hearing from Srila Prabhupada's servants about their association with Srila Prabhupada and how Srila Prabhupada was a walking Bhagavata and how Srila Prabhupada made his disciples equally a walking Bhagavata, whose life we have personally seen, witnessed. We have touched them, we have been with them, we have served with them. They know us. So these are all our, good fortune. Let's capitalize on that and try to redeem and somewhere, pass on the benefits to all our next generations. And that way we will bring in a smile in the face of the Supreme Lord and our spiritual authorities. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hita Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. If there are any questions or comments or reflections, I'll be happy to respond.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranams. Wonderful session, Prabhu. Excellent session, I should say. And it's a privilege for us to hear you and to have your association. The way you churn out these verses, it's commendable, commendable, Prabhu. How from these verses also you can bring out the points of wonderful realizations, and hearing your own personal examples that you often quote in classes, that really helps us to make us understand how we should be in Krishna consciousness. And I'll totally agree, like you say, that we just be so fanatic in Krishna consciousness that we forget to understand the science behind it. And of course, your story that you shared, like how careless that father can be. And, he's saying that you could have leave my child. Come on, if that, how much faith you have in Jagannath, why at first place you handed the child? At that time where your faith was gone, you would have left the child and go and pull the rath. But yeah, certain circumstances do come across in our life also where we put immense faith and then we suffer. We suffer for that. So important, Prabhu. And I really like the point of understanding everybody to be a senior and making a rapt distance with them, for familiarity breeds contempt. But at the same time, to be very cautious when somebody regards us to be senior, then how much responsibility we have on our shoulders, we have to introspect. I don't have any question. You were very clear. You make us understand each and everything very clearly, Prabhu, and really appreciate your association, your coming to the call and enlightening us. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you once again. And what pronouns.
All the Prabhupada, all the Prabhupada.
And of course, I'll just want to say one thing that I really like, that in Krishna consciousness, these three things are important. Our relationship to our spiritual master relationship to Krishna, and our relationship to Krishna. Anything is missed, then we are at loser side. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. And your spectacles example was also so good. Never forget. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Kirtita Mataji, thank you. You just said all that I wanted to say. So, thank you. I like the really, it was very interesting, Prabhu, the glorification of Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and Advaitacharya. And yes, the spectacle analogy and the story that you mentioned, we have heard this, but still every time I hear these stories and analogies that you give, it opens up a new dimension. Like today, when you were talking about the story, I was thinking how concocted our idea of surrender is. Everybody has their own definitions of surrender. So it is very interesting. You don't have enough surrender in Krishna. That's why you're not doing this. So sometimes that the way surrender is perceived by different people is so different. And like very rightly you said, that is where you really need to hear from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, have the transparent medium like that glass you mentioned. Very beautiful, Prabhu. Very interesting class as well. And yeah, it is a wake-up call that we all should remember that we don't have these great personalities with us too long. Their association. That's a lesson for me, because I tend to skip a lot of things because of other circumstances. But then we should pause and think, how long are we going to get this opportunity? We should make use of it. So thank you for that. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. These Zoom calls are very useful because I see myself on the screen. So I speak for myself and somehow it is beneficial for others, so that's okay. But every time I have to see only me in the screen, especially when I'm in the spotlighted. So it is this Ramgiiridhāri. What you're saying, it's not for others. So thank you, ma, for your kind words. Anybody else has any other comments, questions?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम। जय श्री प्रभुपाद। यस प्रभु जी, एग्री कि ये हमारे लिए खुद के लिए ही क्लास होते हैं, बिकॉज ऑफ माय फैमिली, फादर ब्रदर इन लॉ फैमिली केम फ्रॉम इंडिया 2.5 week, almost 17 or 18 days not able to come in afternoon class. प्रभु जी, ऐसा लगता था कि जैसे छूट गए, संघा से छूट गए। ये उनकी मटेरियल बात में मतलब कुछ भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं होता था। By Krishna's mercy, I attend morning chanting and Shri Bhagavad Gita. But Prabhuji, जब हमें संग नहीं मिलता है ना, तभी ऐसा होता है कि उसकी सेपरेशन में, मतलब उसकी जो वैल्यू होती है माँ प्रभु जी, वो समझ में आती है. और आपने जो जगन्नाथ जी की बताई थी स्टोरी प्रभु जी, because of that Subhadra Rani you get 4 hours see Jagannath Balram Subhadra Rani Rath Yatra Association. Prabhuji, koti koti dandavat pranam. Please pray for us that this year we will enter in Shri Dham Vrindavan Dham, Shri Mayapur Dham and Shri Jagannath Puri Dham. Please pray. We are coming in December, but by Shri Jaipataka Maharaj and H.G. Radhanath Maharaj mercy, able to come 1 or 2 months before the festival, before the house marriage ceremony. Please pray for me. प्रभु जी, कोई भी क्वालिफिकेशन तो नहीं है, पर तुलसी महारानी, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी, श्रील प्रभुपाद, श्रील गुरुदेव की मर्जी से और सब वैष्णव की मर्जी से श्रीधाम वृंदावन धाम में एंटर हो पाए. प्लीज प्रे फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. हरे कृष्ण. कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम.
हरे कृष्ण. बिल्कुल भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि आपका भारत भूमि की यात्रा बहुत अच्छे हो और आप सारे दर्शन अच्छे से कर सकें. Any thoughts, comments?
Prabhuji, I have one question to ask. Like, how do you feel later after coming? How you feel later after coming out from that Jagannath Rath Yatra? Like, how you took it, the entire incident?
This happened almost 15-16 years before. I don't exactly remember everything, but I remember few scenes very clearly. I remember 4 parts that very clearly. One was the stupidity of sometimes the person as Priti Vilasani Mataji mentioned, sometimes the principle of surrender is very wrongly misunderstood. Second thing I understand is we should never take Vaishnavas for granted. So the point I was saying is sometimes when you take things for granted, it is something very, very risky. So that is something that I learned. And number 3, actually on a positive side, I'm just that, I have to console myself. Okay, I wanted to stay there for only 45 minutes, but in Jagannath kept me in anxiety all the while. So I had to console. Maybe there is a reason why the Lord is doing this to me. So, because I was really wild. If all the devotees were almost going to, hound upon me and suppress me, because I was going to scream at, because I knew whose disciple was him. Eventually he said that, my Guru Maharaj is so and so. And I knew Maharaj personally. So I thought I will go to him and said, Maharaj, this is your disciple and I want to go and talk to him. But then somewhere, my family and everybody said that, calm down, let's go, it's okay. So they were trying to say that, maybe this is Jagannath's mercy that we have to have. We came there, had prasadam and so many other positives. But last but not least, which is, very important is, in our Sankirtan movement, many times say that children they are all Vaishnava children. And these Vaishnava children, that kid was a blessings in disguise. I'm sure if the child cried, if the child had done some naughty things, I would have gone. So that's when I said that, when because we were just beginning our work on children, preaching, cultivation, kids projects, school initiatives, they were all in the making, because it was in 2005, so we started in 2007, 2008. So we were already thinking about it. So when we see how children, they need to be protected, that's a very significant warning, because sometimes when we hear people are making noise in the movement about things, sometimes they are not wrong. This is abuse. I'm sorry to say. So it is important that we need to, as a leader, as an administrator, I was thinking that wherever and whichever yatra that I am associating with, I will see to that children are looked after very well. So there are many such lessons, but these were all my, I don't remember many details though by now. So, but these were very clearly on my head, saying that sometimes Krishna puts us in such situations for us to learn certain lessons.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Tanvat.
Hey, if there are no further questions. Supasagar Mataji wants me to sing a bhajan, so I will.
Radha Rani ki jai ho. Thank you, Prabhu. Koti koti dandavat pranam.
So, because I had a whole day of hearing Maharaj, and I personally miss Maharaj. He's my spiritual uncle, and I recollect so many memories and my personal association with Maharaj. And there was one project that I was personally involved in Gujarat, and which is happened to be very close to Maharaj's region of service. And there was some situation where I had to administratively deal that. So I'm not sure if anybody had this opportunity. Myself, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Braja Hari Prabhu, who happens to be ISKCON Juhu Temple President, and the other in charges of the project which I was involved in, husband and wife. So we were 5 of us in Gopal Krishna Maharaj's room. We took appointment from Gopal Krishna Maharaj for discussing certain administrative issues for 1 hour. But we landed up in discussing for 4.5 hours. Maharaj did not even get up from his seat, not even to go to washroom. And at a point in time, from 9:30 till 1:30, almost 1:45, I had personally, witnessed in very close quarters what it means to be an acharya. All glories to him. I mean, there are so many stories that I can say. I do not want to get into another separate agenda by itself. But then it's very overwhelming. The day he fell down in the bathroom and we got the news that his life is critical, I was in my home office alone. So many memories came up, and I was weeping and crying, and I was thinking that it's very important that we need to value the associations when they are available, rather than missing them and blabbering and crying. I mean, it's good to at least repent, but better to avail when the chances are available. So, because the whole day of memory with Maharaj's glories, I will sing a song, this Ebora Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. I will read the meaning first to just get into the mood. O Vaishnava Goswami, please be merciful to me now. There is no one except you who can purify the fallen souls. Where does anyone find such a merciful personality by whose mere audience all sins go far away? After bathing in the waters of sacred Ganges many times, one becomes purified. But just by the sight of you, the fallen souls are purified. This is your great power. The holy name delivers one who has committed an offense to Lord Hari. But if one commits an offense to you, there is no means of deliverance. Your heart is always the resting place of Lord Govinda. Lord Govinda says, the Vaishnavas are in my heart. I desire the dust of your holy feet in every birth I may take. Please consider Narottama yours and be kind upon him. Before I sing, I just want to say this. Many times we sing bhajans, we are involved and getting into the tunes of the bhajans. But when we are really intense and emotionally, bound, we follow the lyrics. So this is one day where I follow the lyrics than the tune. And I'm sure you all would have similar experiences where lyrics do matter and lyrics will overpower your tunes. So all glories to Vaishnavas and all glories to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Ebara Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai Patita Pavana Toma Bine ke hona Jaharani kate gele Papa dure jai E mon doyala प्रभु के बाको थापाय गंगार परसा होइले पाश्चते पावान दर्शने पवित्र तोरो ये तो मार्गो हरिस्ताने अपराधे तारे हरि नाम तो मस्ताने अपराधे नाही परित्राण तोमार हृदये सदा गोविंद विश्राम गोविंद को हे नामुरा वैष्णव परान प्रति जन्मे कोरी आशा चरणे रादुली नरोत्तमे कोरो दोया अपनार बोली हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। Toranus Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, devotees, for joining and giving us your valuable association. If everyone is good, we can end the call here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha krapa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Caitanya Bhagavat ki jai, His Grace Ramgiiridhāri Prabhuji ki jai, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki